Right.
And meeting to order.
Beth Campbell here. Joan Cooley is absent so far. Mark Hayes is present via Zoom.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Dr. Christina Minetti is thus far.
Great.
Okay. Any changes to the agenda or shall we just accept that as is?
I will chair be adding an item under reports by historic preservation officer or staff, just a verbal update on the tree preservation code.
Approve the minutes of June 23rd, 2022. I wonder, it seems like it's been forever. I did, yeah, I didn't see anything that new business item. John query whether or not Denny's restaurant, one on Rich Floor, Valero wines and original house of pancakes, original house of donuts. Any kind of naming status?
We can add that to the agenda chair after we approve the meeting minutes. Do you want to add that to the agenda tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's add that into the case. Still need to approve the minutes from June 23rd.
I move that we accept the minutes as they are.
Second. Favor, say aye.
Aye.
So approved. Any announcements? Tonight?
I know that you all had an opportunity to meet Josh at the last meeting. It was a little less gentle of a handoff than I would have liked. I was out of the office. Josh will be assisting me with the preparation and attendance for these meetings over the next couple of months while I finalize some other projects that I'm working on with the department. So I just wanted to formally introduce Josh again and let you all know that he'll be here more regularly and assisting me. So if you have any questions and I'm not immediately, just send it to both of us, and one of us will make sure to respond.
That sounds excellent.
We're getting more staff.
Yes, yeah, I mean, having two.
Yeah.
It's always plus.
Any background in history?
Actually, I do have a little bit of background in this. I was a biologist in Ohio. I worked for a firm that did cultural resources. And so I actually went out
Where in Ohio?
in Columbus, but I helped with cultural work in Ohio and here.
I'll keep you
I
busy.
used to live in Dayton, over Indiana, Michigan, New York. My father was in the Air Force, so I got around.
Right.
I think
Whether I
everybody's
wanted
from
to or
somewhere
not.
else. Yeah.
Next thing is public comments. And anybody with public comments?
We see no one on Zoom or present in the meeting room this evening.
Public hearings. There is none tonight scheduled. Okay, reports by Historic Preservation Officer staff.
So if you want to go to page 5 of your agenda packet, we've provided a brief summary of the status of some items that we've been talking about. First, with the Nisqually Tribe Outreach, we've continued to make attempts to reach out to those groups, and we have some initial successful content, but we have yet to have an actual meeting with them in order to discuss what next steps may be. Just as a reminder, kind of the purpose behind that was we were wanting to initially integrate some more Nisqually history onto the touring map as well as on the website. After we had started to kind of have that discussion, we also received a call to action from some members of some citizens saying that both of those documents and generally all of the historical documents coming from the city lacked Chinese cultural heritage as well as much mentioning of the Nisquallies. So with that, we've attempted to reach out again to the Nisqually tribe and we'll continue to do so. But for my second update, the Clover Park School District, we have successfully made contact and met with them. We had one meeting on August 10th, and the purpose of this meeting was we had some ideas that we wanted to bring forward to maybe engage with the students, and they actually had some other ideas, which was great. So they're ready to engage and work with us on finding what they think would be a great opportunity for volunteers for some older students to possibly do that research that we've been working to partner with the Nisqually. So if the Nisqually tribe, if we're unsuccessful in making some of those connections, they certainly have some information available online. But the students are also interested in pursuing a volunteer opportunity, which would be great for them to maybe even find more information. And so the idea with that, and we're going to have another meeting with them in the middle of September after school gets started and they see which students are appointed to which board and how they might be interested in pursuing some of these opportunities. But it's still a high school graduation requirement to do a certain number of community service hours. So that would be counted towards their community service hours for graduation, which would be a cool opportunity. And then I also extended the offer that maybe they could be the ones to actually author some of that information that would go on the website or on the touring map or future publications.
Sure.
The other ideas that we presented were the pop-up museum, which they said just maybe not right now, but they're open to that in the future, as well as there was one other. Yes, the short videos. And they said that they are already partnering on the videos through another department in the city. Parks and Rec, I guess, is working on videos. So there's a bit of overlap there, but maybe that's one of the topics that they could explore. But for focus on LHAB, it sounds like there would be interest in doing some of that research. So we'll be bringing back another update. We were supposed to meet with them this Wednesday, but they requested that we move that 2 weeks out again, so that the students have an opportunity to weigh in a little. Next update for the Hopkins house, just to close the loop here, the city council did approve the Hopkins house request to terminate the historic designation, which you recommended during the July 5th meeting. The council took action on that item. So they are no longer on the Lakewood Landmarks registry. And then for the touring map, no additional update on the map. I continue to be in contact with the graphic designer, so she's ready to act as soon as we have the information to finalize the update. We're not going to be ready to finalize the update though until this research is concluded. That includes the cultural heritage components that are missing, and we've been requested to fill in.
Now that can be updated for the Hopkins house also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Just changes a little bit designation, and that could go ahead to be a community designation in place of Fulham.
And it sounds like, and I'll have you bring me up to speed a little bit on the renaming when we get to the unfinished business, because I just want to make sure I'm up to date. But I think that it would be wise, our board will definitely take a final glance before we send those revisions over. We've already identified some minor changes that we wanted to make to the map. We wanted to include the historic street signs, possibly identify some parks. So it sounds like we've more or less determined that that's, aside from Fort Silicon, unlikely.
My thoughts are still not all of ours.
Right,
Yeah,
The
exactly.
major significant ones that are,
The
yeah.
ones that are
Mostly
by
used.
something historic. or-
yeah.
And then we had the address correction, and a couple other minor changes. But this change, the content that the students hopefully will be able to produce, will be a more significant change. So once we have all of that assembled, we'll send it off to the graphic designer. And she said it should only take her 2 weeks or so to get something back. So once you take action on a final item, we should hopefully by the following meeting have a draft for you to explore and make additional changes to. So those were all that I had on the agenda that you have in your memo, but I did want to provide an update on the tree preservation code. We went over this in May and June meeting. So during July, we had the Planning Commission public hearing. The Planning Commission forwarded recommendations and to the City Council, and the City Council began their review. I think it was August, the first week in August. So we've now had 2 meetings in front of the City Council. And they are scheduled to have their public hearing on September 6th at 7 p.m. As of today, the items that would impact the board, so the changes made to chapter 2.64, which is the landmarks and preservation chapter of the Lakewood Municipal Code, is subject to change in the way that it was explained to you in the May and June meeting. So there would be a new section of that code for historic or heritage trees. And the designation criteria would be something that would be reviewed and approved by this board as any other Lakewood landmark. So that's a change that the Planning Commission recommended and the City Council is continuing to move forward. So if you want to make comment on that or on any other topic pertaining to the Tree Preservation Code update, the opportunity to do that will be September 6th at 7 p.m. I believe all written comments are due the day before by 5 p.m. and then in person or virtually September 6th, 7 p.m.
And just for clarification for me, the municipal code is 264.
It's either 264 or 248.
Okay, thank you. Sounds great.
Okay, I had one thing to dovetail back into some of your comments earlier. The Historical Society is in the process of getting 2 markers, historical markers, cast within the next month, one of which will be Woodbrook Hunt Club. And the other one is the Bird Cemetery on the game farm. Next in line is the Chinese expulsion and the Lakeview train station, kind of combined situation because that's where they were sent.
Yeah.
To get on the train.
And so
And I have the information to do that,
Great.
but if others have got better stuff, I'll look at whatever anybody has. But,
and I think when we are, have students that are interested in that project, we'll bring them back before the board. And I even said, perhaps our youth council member can be the, in between, if you will, the liaison between the student volunteers and the board, and have them work directly with the LHAB members to collect as much information as you all have, and then go to whatever the resources are that hopefully, Glenn, you have a lot of knowledge for where a lot of these resources are stored. And then there is an interest to even go to like the state archives and do a true, exploration, which would be cool.
I have a pretty good article
Archives
on the Chinese expulsion. However, it's probably 5-6 pages long and obviously gonna need 2
Condensing.
paragraphs, and it's gonna cover both the train station and the Chinese expulsion. So it's not gonna go in depth. However, others can prepare more in-depth information that could go on the map.
Great. And then Mr. Hayes, clarification 2.48040 is the Lakewood Municipal Code. So the section that's subject to amendment is chapter 2.48040.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have prepared for this evening. If you have any questions.
I love the idea that the school is like, oh, no, we'll get the kids to do the work.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So, yeah, I mean, there's no
Nowadays-
reason not to stick their names on the map too,
The outfit that sends in the casting, they've got so many. They got grammar programs and they've got spelling and they got.
Yeah.
So
flags all the
and they
names,
kind of
doesn't it?
embarrassed me on one of the ones that I wrote, I didn't spell cemetery right and so forth, but.
Thank goodness for spell check.
We all make the
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd much
Yeah.
rather find it while
And
it's
it's
still in
been
the office
reviewed,
than when it's on the.
right. Your eyes just don't catch it.
So I'd rather have others give their input and take the heat when it's
Yeah.
required.
Okay.
I can assure the group that that is literally my job for the state. It's what I do in the Department of Ecology. I'm a publications coordinator. So spell check, grammar check, that is literally my job. So I will make sure we look good.
Yes.
Can I send you copies of that? Just-
Of course, of course.
I need, people on the historical society, they know the history, but they don't,
But they don't know the grammar.
they don't go into all kinds of detail.
Well,
You'll send something to somebody else that,
sure.
you can do a little bit of checking, see if you, and maybe you got some better ideas. So
Hey, history geeks
I'll
unite.
take whatever information extra I can get,
Of course. Happy to help.
okay? Okay. We covered new business? Unfinished business?
For
Oh, no, we
unfinished
were gonna
business, I
talk about Jones stuff.
Okay.
and I don't recall any of the items
New business is Jones.
naming. All of that was. And she's not here.
No, I think that it was some, like some mid-century things that
Yeah,
where they weren't eligible for designation a few years ago, and now they are.
Mm.
And so it's like, see what we can go after. Because a lot of that mid-century stuff is pretty key to.
the Denny's here in
Yeah, the
on
one on
100th Street. I don't know what it's gonna be next, but I don't know.
The
if
Mexican
that-
steakhouse, but I
Yeah.
think that's not the one she was thinking of. I think she's thinking
Well,
of the
she
one
was
right
think-
at the end of Bridgeport
Mhm,
when you're getting on I-5.
mhm.
Yeah,
That is the original
City
shape of
Highway.
Denny's.
Southwest and,
And
maybe she was
Bridgeport.
just thinking about Bridgeport. It's also at the end of that, so,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
I mean, they painted it a kind of a weird color, but the shape's still there, so. And
House
the
of,
sign.
House of Donuts is already on a historical marker. If we could get the owner to become interested enough to get the marker displayed. That's the only holdup so far.
And I don't believe they're a Lakewood landmark. So that might be, I mean, they
Yeah.
are a Lakewood
Yeah,
landmark,
they
but
are,
they
but
are
they're unofficial.
Yeah,
And
maybe even the community designation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd probably make it easier to save
Yeah.
the sign if at some point in time somebody goes crazy again and wants all the signs to look like we're somewhere from the 80s in Northern California. Because I think that's what happened to the Arby's sign, because it used to have that lovely old Stetson, and it was huge,
Yeah.
and now it's gone,
Yeah.
and it's boring,
Mhm.
and yeah. I miss that sign.
So do we want to include this maybe on the next agenda for unfinished business? And in the meantime,
Yeah.
does anyone have some contacts at any of these locations to reach out?
do we want to get them designated? Is that the idea, or whether it's,
Ask them if they want to be,
okay,
because we can't do it for them. They're the ones who
Yeah.
have to put everything in, but. we could, see if they would like either the full-on designation or the community designation.
And we actually could do it for them. It would just be something that we'd want to make sure
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
they
support.
approve.
Yeah, but if they
Yeah,
do, we
city
we
won't.
can put forward the application for
We
any.
can fill forms in for them.
Yeah.
They just have to say, please fill in the form for me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, because I do that all day long for people at my job. No, I cannot figure out how to fill out this form.
okay.
So who else do we have besides House of Donuts and Bolero?
I can send out a copy of the work plan. If
Okay.
you look at the work plan, if
It's
you
on
have a
there.
copy, there's a list that we
Yeah.
brainstormed for last year. But I'll send it out so that everyone has a digital version, just so you can pull it through email.
That would be very helpful.
Any other new business?
I have nothing.
Next meeting is scheduled for September 29th.
And by then, we will have an update from the school district. We'll bring back the Lakewood landmark designation discussion. And then we also need to start talking about the 2023 work plan
Yeah.
during that meeting, because
Oh,
typically,
time flies.
yeah, we typically take off November and December just because that's when the holidays are. So that'll give us two opportunities to discuss the work plan at the October and, well, yeah, the
Yeah,
September and the
September,
October
October, yeah.
meeting. And then we will submit that work plan to council for review in December, once you've all agreed.
Yeah. Thank you for keeping us organized.
Is there any other comments tonight? Anybody have any notices, whatever? Okay.
Nothing.
Get a recommendation to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Okay, I'll second it.
Let's mark one. Sure.
I second.
Okay. Okay, so we are adjourned for the night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for your good work. All right. I'll see you next month. I might see you at the January 6th, the September 6th meeting too. I might go to that. So
That'd be awesome.
thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
And then it's in the thing first before.
So it should automatically